What up? What up? Monday, right after the championship games, right? So I know everybody trying to recover from a big Sunday, man. But this is an NBA show. We're gonna be talking some NBA picks, some sports betting advice. It's obviously it's Money Making Monday, so we have our guy, the sports betting legend, Rob Veno, on the show. What's up with you, Rob? Everything cool with you, my brother?
Everything is good, buddy. We did, I'm a little outside of Philadelphia, so I could survive the aftermath. But I know colleague of mine over at Wager Talk in the production end, Dan was out there in the streets and filming himself in the streets last night, and it was kind of a zoo. All the local news showed it, but good for good for the Eagles, Jay. They played well, and they're on their way to the Super Bowl. We'll see what happens.
Yes, sir. On their way to the Super Bowl, man. We obviously there'll be a lot of talk about that over the next couple of weeks. But like I said, this is today. This is Monday. We have NBA games today. We trying to cash today, man. You see what I'm saying, man? That game is in 2 weeks. But let's get straight to it here, guys. Let's head over to the streets of Philadelphia. We have the 76ers here laying 9.5 points. Line opened up at 10.5 last night. It's down to 9.5. Actually, some nines popping up on the board here as we speak. Magic getting back plus some 9.5 here on the road. Total sitting at 231 in this one here, Rob. We know that Embiid is questionable. I mean, there's a lot that we could say about this game, but we have to start with Embiid questionable with the left foot. I did believe I saw him at shoot around. He was at the Eagles game yesterday walking around, so I don't know how bad the foot is, Rob. But how you looking at this game, my brother? Do you think that Embiid plays, and do you think the Magic can keep this one close?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of intangibles that probably, they pushed me towards the Magic, Jay. I made a small play on it earlier this morning. Thought the points were a lot, not necessarily sure that Orlando wins the game, but I think like you and I talked off air before the show started, I just feel like I know what Orlando and Oklahoma City as two lower rung teams, right? I know what these two young teams are going to give me for 48 minutes, and they're going to play hard. And I know that Orlando has enough depth across the front line where if Philly has any trouble at all, it really is past Embiid with the forward positions. They can get outplayed at those two spots. Oh, yeah. Orlando got a lot of size. They've got enough guard play, and they've got enough youth to come in here and run. They've been playing pretty much up-tempo for the last couple of weeks. So it's a situation, Jay, where they play again on Wednesday. I kind of, and again, this is situational handicapping for me here on this game. Not so much the technical trends, but more situational that I think Philly could coast through this one, especially off of the huge game on Saturday against Denver, right? That was the Embiid Jokic special. Philly really wanted that for Embiid. Yeah. He showed out pretty well in that game. So I thought the 10 was a little heavy. The 9 still to me feels a little heavy. I think it's going to be a lot closer than that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I got to start by the Magic here, man. I put a little something on last night as well, plus 10.5. Obviously, if Embiid is in, this line might go back up, right? But personally, I don't really care if he plays or not, man. The Magic have lost 10 straight games to the Philadelphia 76ers, guys. I know earlier this year they beat them twice. They did beat them without Embiid and Harden, but that was a little bit different Magic team. They didn't have any of their guards then. They definitely didn't. They definitely weren't playing as cohesive as they are now as well, man. So the Magic, man, 7-2 against the spread last 9 games. They definitely have double revenge from this year. 7-0 against the spread last 7 road games versus greater than 60% home team. So they get up for these games as well, man. Sixers won 7 straight, but this is a possible letdown, like you said, Rob. Come on, that was a playoff game, man, and that was a huge game for Embiid as well, man. That's probably why he's questionable here. I don't even think it's really kind of just rest up like after that huge game. He went off for 47 points in that one. So possible letdown after the Denver win. I believe probably all the players were either watching the Eagles game yesterday. I know I saw Embiid and Harden there for sure. Y'all know Harden was in the suite with Lil Baby, man. But regardless of that, the city of Philadelphia, huge celebration. Some people, it might not even be a full house out there. I mean, there's 2 ways. They could be, the city is going to be hyped. You know what I'm saying? They're going to come to this game, but probably still hungover as well, man. So you know what? I can't make the game today, man. I had a little bit too much fun yesterday, but like I say, Embiid questionable here. I think regardless, I think Magic plus a 9.5 is the right side in this game. They have 5 guys, 6'10" or higher. And key note here, Markelle Fultz didn't play in those first couple of games this year as well. He was drafted by Philly. He wants to show up every single time he comes back to Philly. I like to be on that side. I like the Magic here, plus the 9.5. It could be my guy in the chat as well saying sprinkle Magic first half money line. It could be a spot where the Sixers come out a little sluggish as well, man. Maybe have to wait to the little liquor rub off here. So that's a good look there, man. Maybe that first half is worth a look as well. We know the Magic can come out and play really hot basketball, and then sometimes they will lose it in the full game, maybe tanking or whatever. But that plus 5.5 in the first half is not a bad look whatsoever. Because if they don't come out hot, Rob, I mean, I think we agreed that it's probably not a good chance they'll cover the spread. What do you last thoughts on this game? What do you think about that first half Magic plus 5.5?
Yeah, it makes total sense. If Philly shows up a little bit sluggish, I mean, again, we saw Orlando take Boston to the shed a couple of times already this year, right? If you're not ready to play these guys, then they're different than the tankers, right, Jay? We try to identify the sub 500s that are tankers. And I just think Orlando's not one of those. Since they've got their guys back, they play hard. So for Philly, if they come in a little lackadaisical, I think first half could be a real smart play as well.
That's facts right there, man. Yeah, I appreciate you, Justin, for no, that wasn't Justin, that was Markel, man. I appreciate you for
there we go.
It makes perfect sense, man. But yeah, Magic plus a 9.5. I think the first half plus 5.5 might get there as well, man. So hey, if we're saying it right, could be a wire-to-wire spot for the Magic here if the Sixers come in there a little drunk, man. But I know me personally, I'm only looking towards the Magic and that one. I like that plus 9.5. I think that's good money. I also think that first half is good money. And Markel Fultz, take a look at his props. He's going to want to go off in this game, guys. Let's head over here to the streets of Brooklyn here, Rob. We got the Nets laying 9 points at the house versus the LA Lakers in this one. No LeBron, no Anthony Davis. I think it's super – they don't usually rule the guys out the day before the game, right, Rob? I just feel like that's super fishy. They usually wait LeBron basically all the way down to game time. But you're going to go ahead and rule him out the day before? What's going on with this game, Rob? This is kind of funny to me.
Yeah, and they had rest yesterday, right? And I know the overtime game Saturday night was a big deal, right? Saturday night prime time against the Celtics. They do try and recreate that 80s rivalry, no matter what the difference is between these two teams. But again, a lot of energy in that game. And LeBron is, questionable basically every night. So to give those two guys rest here, I don't know. I can see it. I just don't know what to do with this game, Jay, to tell you the truth. The line moves all the way to -9. The total goes up without LeBron and AD in the game. It just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. The one thing that might make sense here is to play Nets team total over because without Anthony Davis, generally the Lakers defense is garbage. And I don't want to trust LA to score points without LeBron scoring his 35, 40 every single night. So it could get wide open and it could get fast tempo for sure. But I would probably trust the Nets to make shots, score points here. Nets in off a big win against the Knicks New York City rivalry Saturday night as well. But I would probably try Nets team total here. That's the only thing I can think of. I didn't play it. I don't want to, start pushing people toward, Rob played it. I didn't play it, but just thinking it through in my head this morning, I figured if I was going to look, it would probably be Brooklyn team total over.
That's a good point there. No Anthony Davis. He's the best defender for the Lakers over there. If you're taking Nets team total over, you don't care about the spread. Here's why I think that this game is going to be fishy, guys. First off, LeBron and AD ruled out a full day before. It's all over ESPN. You got Woj tweeting out everything. It's like, just me personally, it seems like they want everybody to know that LeBron or AD are out in this game the day before, which they never do. Now, refs have to admit that they kind of screw LeBron. Now, LeBron did travel, but that's a whole nother conversation. But he did get fouled, right? So blown call on LeBron. I expect fishiness in this game, guys, especially with this point spread. I feel like if the Nets do win this game, it may not be by double digits. So like many people may think, guys. So road team 8-2 straight up last 10 meetings as well. Lakers did beat the Nets already earlier this year. But Lakers are 4-1 ATS last 5 games, 6-2 against the spread last 8 as well. Like I said, the numbers don't really matter in this because obviously a lot of the numbers have been with LeBron in this one. But regardless, I'll be honest. I think this could be a fishy type of game. Just me personally, I wouldn't bet the net. I don't know if I want to get there with the Lakers. Maybe look at some props with guys that's going to have high usage like Schroeder, Westbrook, I believe Lonnie Walker may be coming back, but Rui Hachimura has to have a bigger role in this one. But I feel fishiness in this game, guys. So if the Lakers did even win this game or cover it, I wouldn't be a bit surprised. I do expect the refs to be a little bit more pro Lakers in this one. But the fact that they ruled out them a whole day in the head just makes it even more fishy, in my opinion. I lean Lakers plus a 9. If I like the Nets, I'm taking the team total over. That was a great point by you, Ednell and Rob. Set over here to a great game, man. We go to the streets of Minnesota here, guys. We got the Timberwolves here getting a point at the house versus the Sacramento Kings, Rob. I usually like to go with revenge spots here, Rob, but this shit has not been. I feel like I've been overcomplicating things this year, man. What do you think of this one, Rob? Do you think that the Kings are pretenders, or you think that they're contenders? And do you think they can get some revenge here tonight in Minnesota?
Well, I'll say one thing. They probably feel the footsteps of the Clippers and Golden State now, because that, they sit atop that division. They look real nice in the Western Conference playoff standings right now, but Golden State's kind of hit the pedal a little bit. They're above 500 now. The Clippers, before they rested everybody the other day or yesterday, had rattled off a few straight wins, and they're closing in on these guys. Now, to your point about these situations where they play twice in a row, whether it be back-to-back or with a day in between, it really hasn't been overly profitable to come back with the revenge spot. It was the first thing I thought of, because Sacramento was outshot so badly in the game the other night. I think Minnesota was well over 50%. Sacramento was low field goal percentage. They were low three-point percentage. Minnesota killed them from the three-point line. But interesting with the Timberwolves, Jay, you and I talked a couple of weeks ago about a Friday night when I had watched the Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards waving the towel because they played defense to end the game. As soon as I said that, they went out and started giving up points. But they've turned it around again. 5 straight unders out of the Timberwolves against teams that can score, right? It's Sacramento, it's Memphis, it's a pair of Houstons. In New Orleans, New Orleans has been a little shaky, but the others tend to provide offense. 5 consecutive unders. It looks like that defensive mentality has kicked in a little bit. I mean, the last 3 games, nobody shot better than 45%. So I'm leery of going against the Timberwolves right now. They continue to come up with these wins when I think situationally they should probably lose. That has me thinking, these guys, they might be for real. Now, Rudy Gobert's questionable again, as he is almost every day. So who knows
every day.
I don't know what this guy's problem is, but it's like he's not the only one. I shouldn't single him out because it goes on across the NBA every day. Makes it hard for guys like us. But I would say this, Jay. My lean initially was to Sacramento. I thought they would shoot the ball better. The game would be closer. But again, it hasn't been a profitable angle to work. Just knee-jerk playing the team that lost the first time around.
And you know what? And I'll be honest, because I'm an angle type of better. I'm a spot better. It has not mattered about the spots this year, guys. I'll be perfectly honest. And it's all about adapting and adjusting, right? So you could be cashing with something for years, and it could be this NBA season is a new season, guys. I'll be honest with you. Rest advantage spots aren't cashing. Teams on a back-to-back coming to play. We've never seen things like this, man. This team's in 5 games in 7 nights coming out there winning a game off a team that versus teams that have 2 days rest. We've never seen things like this. So it's basically like the opposite. But that brings me to say, I think it's mostly just on current form. And right now, not everyone is like playing for the playoffs, but in the West, you do. And the Kings are sliding, in my opinion. And the Kings, if they're not careful enough, they could slide out of the playoffs. We could have this situation, Rob, and I think it's interesting to notice these type of things. The teams that start out really hot because they usually fade out, and then some teams know, hey, we need to get into our groove like February. So I'm saying that's kind of what the Clippers are doing as well, man. So keep note of that. The Kings may have kind of sort of shot their load a little early, man. And they don't play a ton of defense as well. One thing we saw in the last game, they're running rover. They got Jalen McDaniels on De'Aaron Fox and then leave Gobert back at the rim. It worked out really well for them. They held Fox at bay, but Wolves red hot right now. 5-1 straight up last 6 games, 6-1 against the spread last 7, 4-0 straight up in ATS last 4 at the house, 6-1 straight up last 7 home games, 5-1-1 ATS last 7 versus the Kings, number 2 on defense the last 5 games. Rob, like you said, when the Wolves have offense, so when they're playing defense, this could literally be a top 5 team in the West, man. Don't be surprised if they get even higher as well. Kings are starting to regress. This is something that I'm noticing. 1-3 straight up and ATS last 4. Number 21 on defense last 5 games. That's the thing that really plagues the Kings, guys. They can score with the best of them, but when you have Sabonis down low and you don't really have that lockdown defense, it doesn't matter if you can score. When you have other teams that lock you up and you turn into a half court type of game, that's what's happening to the Kings here. They're also 1-5 ATS last 6 in Minnesota. Personally, what I've done in recent years, I'd be taking the Kings here with the quick revenge. But this year is a new year, guys, and it's you kind of have to go with the team that's hot right now. Wolves are balling out, playing with a ton of confidence at the house. I can only look towards the Wolves here, +1. This line has flipped. They like the Kings in the revenge spot. Like I say, man, this is a wacky year. The spots aren't hidden, man. I'd still look at Wolves to get it done again in this one, Rob. I still like Wolves +1 in this one, man. Let's go over here to the streets of San Antonio here, Rob. We got the Spurs getting 6 points at the house versus the Wizards in this one. This line has shot up. It was at 234 last night. It's all the way up to 241 now, Rob. I did see that Gafford was downgraded with an illness. I know the Wizards had won in San Antonio since 1999. Rob, how you looking at this game?
Well, I don't mind looking at San Antonio overs, Jay, because they just continue to, play the same exact game almost every night. This is one team that I could almost blueprint and, get what I expect I'm going to get out of them. I'm going to get little defense. I'm going to get a track meet. They're more than capable of scoring. We've seen it all season long with them, because they're interchangeable. And I think Josh Richardson is one piece that slides back in tonight. They just all do the same thing. And Pop really hasn't, I don't know if he doesn't think they can, Jay, and he lets it go, or if he just doesn't care anymore. But for a guy who coached defense his whole life, he seems to be, just more about hugging people after the game than having his team hold anybody down. So the Wizards are playing real well right now. Porzingis is back in this lineup tonight. So you get Kuzma, you get Beal, you get Porzingis. And for what it's worth, the last 7-8 days, I've continually slightly ticked up the Wizards' power rating. They're playing better ball right now.
They've been balling, Rob.
Yeah, I think they can score. I think San Antonio will score with them. They don't mind being in these track meets. And like I said to you the other day, 240 kind of starts to scare me unless it's the Spurs. It 250 scares me with the Spurs. So I was in earlier on this total, and I think that I could say to anybody watching, I still would get in on it at 240.5. I still think it's well worth it. I think you'll probably see something in the 252 range is probably where it lands.
That's a great point. Porzingis comes back means less defense. And so say Porzingis backs means a whole lot more offense, less defense. He's going to be on the perimeter trying to shoot threes, right? And he kind of chucks them up pretty quick. And if Gafford is out, that's a whole lot of defense that you're missing as well for the Wizards. And paint protection. He's literally the best defender on the floor, other than DeLon Wright, the defender coming off the bench, the guard, guys. So like I say, this is a tough game. In theory, Wizards will have all the motivation. Like you said, Rob, I mean, this team is balling right now. 5-0 straight up and against the spread last 5. I'm not betting against them. Now, the Spurs are 0-5 straight up their last 5. I did see a quote them saying that they don't want to continue like just losing. Like, obviously they're tanking, but they don't want to have like these bad performances every game. They at least like to string together some nice performances. So this would be a contrarian spot to take the Spurs, but this is one that I've been caught up on, right? Trying to fade the Wizards, but you got to notice they're playing top tier basketball right now, and I'm not going against them. I actually kind of lean with the Wizards here. We know the Spurs don't want to win games, so with this second half of the season, I will be fading a lot of these tanking teams, guys. But the Wizards, like the current form is too good right now for me to hop off of them. It could mess up the lineups with Gafford going out and Porzingis coming in. Like I do think they lose a lot of defense with that, but they do get it back a whole lot of offense. Like I said, the Spurs aren't trying to win right now. They don't play any defense. I could definitely see this game going over. I can't bet against the Wizards right now. I kind of sense a little something different with them, and I'm sure if they look to see that they hadn't won there since 99, should be all the motivation in the world. Let's head over here to the streets of OKC here, Rob. Got the Thunder here getting 5 points at the house versus the Golden State Warriors. This one opened up at 3.5. I did sprinkle on the 3.5 last night. I might still play the Warriors. I think I could still like it at 5 in this one, Rob. This is a turn-up spot for the Warriors. The Thunder as well have not really been lately. They have been put together back-to-back great performances coming off that win versus the Cavs. Now you're going up against the Warriors team that if they lose this game, they'll have the same record as the Thunder in this one. Rob, how you looking at this one?
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And the Thunder, I think it's about time that we kind of get rid of the tag of them being a flat-out lottery team and consider them to be they're a good team at this point, Jay. And they do it a little differently because they have no size. And when we handicap these guys fundamentally each and every day, I think, wow, the other team, just look who's playing center and bet their rebounds if you're a prop player.
Facts.
They run like Kenrich Williams out there at center. It's crazy. Mike Muscala, Kenrich Williams. But they counter it by trying to run you out of the gym, right? They use their legs. They use their athleticism. They're so good with tempo. However, Golden State, Andrew Wiggins back tonight. They can certainly match tempo. This is a funny game, Jay, because my first reaction in this game was, I got to play these two teams over the total. Golden State shooting exceptionally well now. And to your point, I totally agree. I think they're starting to hit the gas pedal now. This away record that we'll hear quoted over and over again by handicappers, season statistics, Golden State, a lousy road team. That's all going to come back to form for them. I think they're not just going to continue to be a crappy road team the remainder of the season. I think they're starting to put the brakes on that a little bit. So I think there's a good performance here out of them. But when I look at Oklahoma City, they've only allowed 2 teams. Golden State's team total tonight is 124.5.
Damn.
Oklahoma City's played 13 January games. Only twice have they given up over 124. All of a sudden, you look at the field goal percentages they're giving up defensively. They play good defense, too, for a young team. And then I look at their offense this month. 11 out of 13 games, they've shot 49% or better. It's just a different team than last year when we could count on Oklahoma City to use pace but miss shots. Now they use pace and they make shots. It's hard because I think both teams are capable defensively when they want to be. And with Wiggins back, that might be the best defender on Golden State, to tell you the truth. So I shied myself away from the total. And I kind of shied myself away from the game itself, just knowing that Oklahoma City plays hard, even though I'm in that camp that thinks that Golden State's going to hit the gas now. By rights, I should have been on Golden State last night, maybe like you at the cheaper price. But I don't have enough confidence to go ahead and lay it against this particular team. If it was any other, bottom 15 team in the NBA, 16 team, maybe. But like I say, I've elevated Oklahoma City to where they've got a pretty good power rating now. So I laid off the entire game. I couldn't make heads or tails of the number.
No, that is fast. I couldn't talk you off laying out the game, man, but I do like the Warriors in this spot, man. It's a turn-up spot. No Lou Dort, so that's the best defender by far on the Thunder team. So like you said, I mean, no centers. In games like this, having no centers really catch up to them, right? Last game, they caught the Cavs on the back-to-back spot, last game of a road trip, all this good stuff. I think you're going to have a focused Warriors team, right? Warriors have won. They're 6-0 straight up and 4-1-1 ATS last 6 versus OKC, 7-2-1 ATS last 10 meetings. 4-2 straight up in ATS last 6 games. I feel like they're in playoff mode. OKC has won 6 of the last 8 and 8-1-1 ATS last 10 games, but this is one that I feel like they drop, in my opinion, man. I do think the Thunder could possibly make the play-in tournament, in my opinion, but I think the Warriors kind of look at this game, look at the records as well, see that they're very much the same. Look how SGA's been balling over there. Say, all right, come on, guys, let's go out here and kind of put a stop to their little confidence because they kind of think they can fuck with us right now. We've owned this team. They don't have a center. I don't see how Draymond Green's rebounds don't get there. Draymond Green might go for a double-double tonight, man. Drive to the paint here, guys. Drive to the paint. I'll admit, they have really good perimeter defenders for the Thunder. But, I mean, obviously minus Lou Dort, but not having the rim protection is really going to come back to hunt them here tonight. I think Steph wants to go crazy as well. And the Thunder can't keep up with this team shooting wise as well. Thunder like to go get into that mid range, get it to the paint, mainly SGA as well. They're not the greatest of 3-point shooting teams. And what do you need to do to keep up with the Warriors? You need to shoot threes here. I think the Warriors take the Thunder to Smack City here tonight, guys. Even though they're on the road, I still like the Warriors. Got in at 3.5 last night. I still like the 5, to be honest with you. I think they taking the Thunder to Smack City. Warriors winning this one by double digits, my guys. Let's go over here to the streets of Dallas here, Rob. Love talking to Mavs on Mondays with you. They've been certified as, though, I must say that. They're laying 8.5 points here versus the Detroit Pistons. I'm hearing they're shopping Dorian Finney-Smith. I want no parts to do with the Mavs, and not sure how we cap this game right now, not knowing the status of Luka Doncic here, Rob.
That's the hardest part, right, Jay? And I will say this. I think that the total 231.5 came down to 229.5 because we don't know about Luka. And in my mind, you're supposed to take advantage of that. You said Dallas has been ass. I'll be more specific. Their defense has been ass, right? They don't defend anymore. It's crazy. They don't defend. And Detroit is one of those young teams that, well, they're the worst defensive team in the NBA by like 5 or 6 different metrics. They are 30th in the NBA, worst. It's a young team with a lot of parts that aren't cohesive on the defensive end. Communication is everything. They don't have it yet. And they run and they score. To me, 229.5, the way Dallas is playing defense is almost like legalized stealing. I'd probably look towards the over in this game. And to your point, there's more trade talks running through Dallas than you can even imagine right now. Luka, obviously, a couple of weeks ago, very quietly behind closed doors. Of course, everybody always leaks stuff. But apparently Luka said, this ain't the roster we're going to get there with. And, for Luka, and Jay, you've met my youngest. He's a Mavs fan as well. And I had said to him last season, I said, this will all be great for Luka until he's in this league 5 years and he ain't winning anything. Then he's going to start complaining, let's get me some players around here. I've heard D'Angelo Russell. I've heard a lot of people maybe to Dallas here. It'll be interesting to see where they go with this. But for tonight and for current form, like you said to start this show, we're talking about tonight. We're trying to cash tickets. I'm going to try and cash mine with over 229.5 because if Luka does play, that 29.5 is going to be long gone. I'll be looking at 235, 236. So I got in now. I think it'll get over. Detroit plays no defense either.
Yeah, and the Mavs are still in the playoff hunt. It's not time to give up. I know Luka's been out the last couple games. There could be a strong possibility that he comes back here as well. So this total is actually coming down, open up at 231.5, come down to 229.5. But you're exactly right. I kind of feel like Luka I kind of get good at kind of see when guys will come back. Now, obviously, it's the Detroit Pistons, but still, you got to want to come. You don't want to come back versus a top tier team and the Pelicans, right? You want to come back versus a little lower tier team, kind of ease your way back into things, man. So I think there's a strong chance Luka come back tonight. They've lost 3 out of the last 4 games as well. They've lost, they've lost 6 out of the they've lost 5 out of the last 6 out of the last 8 games as well, man. So Mavs need a win here. The Pistons, we just saw that this team, they're in the tanking. They're in for the tank. When they just lost that game versus the Rockets, they're telling you that we don't want to win right now, man. So in these type of games, I must say the Pistons do try to show up. They won't try to win it. Like even if they have a lead going into the fourth quarter, they'll piece this game away, but that doesn't mean they can't cover a spread. I'm off this game. Maybe if I want something here, maybe Mavs team total over, but hopefully Luka plays in Noah, guys. Maybe Mavs team total over Noah. Some tough games out here, man. Last couple games up, Rob. Let's go over here to the streets of Phoenix. Got the Suns laying 2 points at the house versus the Toronto Raptors are playing a lot better. I could have sworn I saw a total 232 last night. It's down to 221 here, right? And I agree with it. I was saying on my night show that I feel like this is an under type of game. I'm not a bit surprised to see this total move this far here, Rob. How you looking at this game?
I liked Toronto. And again, I'll just go backward a few days, Jay. You and I and Ski were together on Wager Talk's NBA show. And on that day, Toronto opened up this road trip. And I think it was like the contrarian play or whatever it was called that day. But, I always like to play teams. First game out of the chute on an extended road trip because you think that that's when they're going to bring their excitement if they're looking to play. And Toronto came right out and won that night. And they played pretty good out west here. But no OG Anunoby, no deal for me. He's too key to that team. He's too good defensively, the best wing defender they have for a team that hasn't played a lot of defense all season long. Missing him hurts. Missing his offense hurts. And I feel like Phoenix is playing better ball right now. To me, it's a very cheap price to ask them to win by 3 points at home versus a team that's now into this road trip and without one of their best guys on both ends.
That's a good point.
To me, fairly simple, Phoenix or nothing here. But I think the Suns at this cheap of a price, pretty good. And you know what? As we talk here, Jay, I'm looking at the screen, the odds screen, and it's going from 2.5 down to 2. There's a 1.5 somewhere. So there's Toronto money here. So maybe if Anunoby's now amazingly going to play, we never know how to trust this injury report.
Nah, he out, but if not, sure.
Without him, I don't want him. I'll play Phoenix minus the points.
It's kind of crazy. Real quick, like OG really fell on his wrist pretty bad. Like, and I hope he's not hurt, but it looked like he really hurt his wrist there. And this couldn't have come at a worse time because they're shopping him around like heavily. They did win the last game. That was versus the Blazers. We'll talk about them next. But I feel like both teams are kind of playing a lot better. But you said it, 4th straight road game, right? They're getting into the midst of a road trip. But I do feel like the Raptors are starting to turn it up, right? They're 3-1 straight up last 4-1 against the spread last 5, and even that game versus the Warriors, they lost that one. That was the game that OG went down. They were in that game. I'm talking about it was literally a tie game, man. And then they kind of created separation in that one. So I'm kind of scared of betting against the Raptors right now. I must say, maybe they finally found some. Now the Suns have definitely found some at the house. They're 4-0. Before they lost the game versus the Mavs, they were 4-0 straight up in the ATS at the house. Last 6 games, they're 5-1 straight up and ATS. Now they game versus these are things that kind of worry me. Rob, the game versus Spurs, they won and covered, but if you watch the game, it went to overtime. The Spurs actually could have won that game, right? So Suns, this is why I was looking at the under. Both of these are really great defensive teams. Suns don't really push the pace a ton. Raptors are starting to push it a little bit more, but these are 2 really sticky type of defenses here, guys. So I really agree with this total. I mean, it's come down so far now where it might be value on the over, but last night I know I saw a 232 for sure. I'm not a total bettor, you see what I'm saying? So I didn't even hop on it, but I had Raps and under written down. They are like I said, it seems like the Raptors are playing with a little sense of urgency, but the Suns have to do as well. Easy stay off game for me, guys. It's real simple. I could really flip a coin with that one. Last game up here, Rob. We're going to the streets of Portland here. Got the Blazers laying 2.5 points at the house versus the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young questionable here, Rob. What we doing? You know how they do us.
I know. Come on, man. Honest to God. Come on, Trae Young.
You know if he's playing or not, man.
My guess is he's playing, right? I mean, it becomes a Damian Lillard, Trae Young logo shooting contest. 2 guys that are the best in the business at what they do. And Damian Lillard absolutely on fire as of late. I mean, I don't know that anybody can defend the guy right now. For Portland, it looks like Josh Hart and Nurkic come back in this game. They didn't play the other night. Portland lost. But Portland was another one of those teams that was playing really, really well. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, 2 guys can't play on Saturday, and miraculously they can play on Monday. I don't get it. Why do you disrupt the streak that you're on with those benchings? But maybe they were hurt more than I think. I don't know. But with them back, if we're talking about tonight, I kind of like the Blazers. The Hawks are playing well too, but I never really trust them on the road, to tell you the truth, especially on the defensive end. Now, to their positive for the Hawks, DeAndre Hunter came back, right? And that's going to be the best defensive guy that they have starting. I like the fact that they have 2 good rebounding centers now. Puts a little bit of pressure on Portland at that end. Should be a high-scoring game, Jay, to tell you the truth. I mean, the 236.5 is not out of the realm of possibility. I would love to know that Trae's playing. Then I could get there. Portland's played a lot of high-scoring games as of late, and Atlanta doesn't mind getting involved in them. But I can't really make a call unless I know. So, and Trae Young's one of those guys. There's not a lot of them, but he's one of those guys that, 10 minutes before game time, you'll realize he's out. They're not going to tell you an hour before. They're going to tell you after your bet's already in. You got to go scramble to try and get your money back.
absolute corruption there, man. Just believe me when I tell you that we're not meant to make money off these guys. There's a lot of injury report manipulation going on. It's not saying that some people can, but what I'm saying is, as far as the mainstream, they don't want you to make money off of sports betting, guys. Look at this. I mean, look at Rudy Gobert being questionable every single game. Look at LeBron James being questionable every single game. Trae Young will be questionable, just like you said, Rob. Up until 10 minutes before the game, they're going to play with you, and they do it with the biggest players as well, man. In my opinion, I kind of feel like they just try to get as much money on both sides, but regards to that, the breakdown of the game. Now, the Blazers really worried me here, Rob. They're 4-6 straight up and against the spread last 10 games, and you've played 9 of those games at the house. You've had 1 road game. This is where the Blazers are supposed to turn up at the house, man. This is a really frustrating team. They're supposed to be better than this. I admit that they don't have the best bench. You kind of worry about Billups if he loses the team sometimes. Dame seems all over the place mentally, but this is how I'm looking at it. I can only look at Blazers in this game. Trae Young or no Trae Young. 6 straight home games for the Blazers here. 11th out of the last 12 games, as well. Coming off a blowout loss as well. So it's a bounce back spot for the Blazers here. Hawks 0-5 against the spread last 5 meetings in Portland, and it makes sense as well. It's the total different side of the country. Hawks play on Eastern time. The Blazers play, they're over there on Pacific time. So I'm saying this is a late night game. Shout out to my guy in the chat, man. Where you go? He said this is a late night sleepy spot for the Hawks. And maybe that's the 10 p.m. Eastern start, man. This game is going to end like 2 o'clock in the morning, body clockwise for the Hawks. I don't think it matters whether Trae Young plays or not. I don't think the Hawks play enough defense. But the problem is with the Blazers, they can play some defense, but their offense sputters sometimes. But I must say, I could see Dame, Simons, guys like that going off in this one. They still got Grant. But my problem with the Blazers we don't know if Hart and Nurkic are in there for sure, Rob. And they've been shopping them heavily as well. I'd like to take Blazers here, but this is a tough game. I lean Blazers, but they got too much shit going on for me right now, Rob. Let's get to some picks, man. Let's talk some shit out. But what you got going over at Wager Talk, guys? If you know, it's $9 Monday over at Wager Talk and $2 Tuesday every single Tuesday over there at Wager Talk. You don't need a promo code for that. I'll have my guy Prez on the show for tomorrow. I'm sure it's going to be a fun show tomorrow, Rob. But what you looking at on today's card? What you got going over at Wager Talk? I know you're going to have some nice Super Bowl picks for it.
Yeah, man. I know. I got to tune in for you and Prez together. That's must watch video tomorrow with Prez, who's on a real good hot streak. That's why he'll be the $2 handicapper tomorrow. At Wager Talk, $9 Monday, as you mentioned, Jay. Over there, I've got NBA up and available right now, so you can visit if you want selection packages. Also, we'll have college basketball. I've started to get a little more involved in the college hoops. Pretty good start to the season, Jay. 25-13. Okay. Up 30 units of profit already in college hoops, so it's been good, slow but steady. And if you would just like to get video content like you're seeing right here on Jay's show every single day, that's what they provide over at Wager Talk for free. Go ahead and drop your email address. You'll get to see shows like this on every single sport. Each and every day, you'll get every game analyzed. That's wagertalk.com. For the show, Jay, let's go back. Listen, you talked me into one. This is why I like coming on these shows, because I can kind of get, it doesn't really go along with the point spread statistics for the season. But Golden State -1.5 first quarter to me looks like a place to go here. I talked a lot about, maybe conflicting arguments in this game that kept me off. But the one thing I'm sure I'm on is that fact that Golden State's starting to play again. And it's a road spot. And then you said something that triggered my thought. Teams used to walk in here and not really care that it was OKC. But I feel, I'm not going to say they were a bullseye, but I think they're earning respect of the league now, where teams come in and say, you know what, we can't just come in here and screwball around with these guys. We got to play.
Right.
And if Golden State is on that track, like I think they're on, I said before, Sacramento probably hears their footsteps creeping behind them, along with the Clippers in that division, then they'll come out first quarter. Listen, their starting 5 is better than OKC's starting 5. So we come right out, put it to them right away. All they got to do is win by 2 points first quarter. They haven't been a great first quarter team. They've been a much better first quarter over team. They're like 30-16 to the over in the first quarter. But I'm going to skip that and go to Golden State -1.5 here. And then one more that I'm going to leave you with that I like a lot is I like the Detroit-Dallas game to go over 229.5. I think at this point in time, Detroit, anything under 230 is worth playing over, the way they play defense, the way they run. If I get Luka, even better. But I'm going to leave you with those two: Golden State -1.5 first quarter, and Detroit Dallas over 229.5.
Couldn't talk you off that at all, man. You might be talking me into. I bet Golden State full game -3. This is what I bet last night, guys. Now I must say I'm gonna start betting like a little bit. In certain games that I kind of know that I have an edge betting overnight. Some games like the Blazers Hawks game, I mean, you gotta wait till you see what's going on with that way, man. But some games I pretty much know who all's playing for the Magic. I know who all's playing for the Warriors here. And I still lean Wolves as well, man. I might personally get there. It's not that you guys have taken, but I've done my research last night, and I have to go with what I know. You see what I'm saying? I took Magic plus 10.5. I still like it at the 9.5, guys. The Warriors, I took it -3.5. I still like the -5. I think I'm gonna ride with Rob there in the first quarter, because if they come out bullshitting, I'm like, damn, what the Warriors doing? They should come in here focused. I like that first quarter -1.5 as well. Heavily lean Lakers, could be a conspiracy spot. I lean Lakers plus the 9 Nelwyn, and Wolves playing a lot better. Kings sit number 3 right now in the West, but I do think they're a tad bit fraudulent. I think it's their defense as well. I know they were winning some road games, but I do think the Kings might go on a slide here, guys. We're going to pay attention here, but I think for the next 5 to 10 games, I might be betting against the Kings pretty heavy. I think they're going to take a slide, and I think teams like the Warriors and Clippers know that it's their time to surge up. The West is really close right now, guys, so it's anybody's for the taking, but I mean, the Kings aren't the best. They're not the third best team in the Western Conference, guys. They've been playing a little bit too over their heads. I think the Wolves have been playing way too well right now for us to look past them. So Wolves -1 is the only way I can look there heavily. I might get there, guys, but that's it for me today, man. I'll probably do another show later, just to, you know what I'm saying, for any late info, look at some props. I do lean to some Markelle Fultz props. I lean to some Draymond Green rebound and assist props as well. Now, maybe even Looney rebounds, man. So, but great show with my guy, Rob, man. We've been on here for 40 minutes, a lot of info, break down all the games. We went over our top picks as well, and let's try to get some cash, my guys. We appreciate everybody for tuning into the show. If you'd like to become a member, check out hit the join button, or you can click the link in the description, my guys. $3.99 a month. If you don't want to, it's all good. Still free shows every single day. Hit the like button if you like the show, guys. We out. Let's get this cash.